is the news. So today's bit of news is this article talking about STDs. So there's an article that came out. Oh God, hold up. That's my, oh no, I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it. He took my girl. No, I'm playing. But there's an article that came out that says oral sex is a leading factor in the throat cancer epidemic in the United States, doctor says. Now I know, oh God, why do you care, Mr. Non-sex having guy? One day I do hope that I might get to dip my dick in some pussy. And I think it's wise for everybody to be knowledgeable on the realities of STDs. Oftentimes, to me, it seems like people aren't really concerned or take the adequate steps necessary to protect themselves from STDs. And so I think reading up on stuff like this is important and informative. Maybe some of you guys are sexually active, and so hopefully maybe you'll get something out of this. So let's get right into this. So this article is on, I think, what is this? People? Okay. And so it says, oral sex may be the biggest factor in the rise of throat cancer in the United States. Dr. Hisham Mihana, a professor at the Institute of Cancer and Genomic Sciences at the University of Birmingham, said that there has been a rapid increase in oropharyngeal cancer. Excuse me if I'm saying that wrong. A type of throat cancer in the past 2 decades, calling it an epidemic in both the US and UK. For oropharyngeal cancer, the main risk factor is the number of lifetime sexual partners, especially oral sex. Mahana wrote for The Conversation, those with 6 or more lifetime oral sex partners are 8.5 times more likely to develop oropharyngeal cancer than those who do not practice oral sex. Give me 1 second, because I don't want to keep saying it wrong. I thought it was going to be a one-time word. Apparently, they're going to be throwing this fucking word around throughout the article. So let me actually figure out the correct pronunciation of this word. So let's see. What does it say? There we go. Seems I wasn't the only one. Oropharyngeal pronunciation. Excuse me. Okay. Come on.
Oropharyngeal.
Oropharyngeal. I was close. Not bad. Oropharyngeal. Okay, the Centers for...
Oropharyngeal.
I got it. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention states that 70% of oropharyngeal cancers in the United States are caused by HPV or human papilloma. Oh God. I've heard that one. Hold on, let's get it. Oral... Why do they make these words like don't come on now? They could have called it fucking papillomavirus or something. They gotta make it all complicated and shit. Hold up. Let me see. There we go. Oh, hold on, turn it up.
Papillomavirus.
Okay. Papilloma. Okay, that's easy. Caused by HPV or human papillomavirus. So, but let's back up a little bit. So it says those with 6 or more lifetime oral sex partners are 8.5 times more likely to develop oropharyngeal cancer than those who do not practice oral sex. And I believe that because if you think about it, when people hook up, a lot of times some people will use condoms, but typically for penetrative sex, not for oral sex. Even when you look at the porn industry, right? I've seen certain scenes where they'll use condoms, but only for penetration. They won't use condoms for the blowjob or cunnilingus, if you will. And I think even probably in the real world, a lot of people probably have the same mentality where if they're going to wear a condom, it's mostly going to be for penetration and somewhat for not wanting to get a girl pregnant, but also for STD protection. But I think when it comes to oral sex, people tend to be more loose, if you will, in terms of condom use, because a lot of guys don't want a condom blowjob. And if you're going to be eating pussy, I mean, there's not a lot of options there. I think I've heard of a vagina condom, but again, let's be real. Who the hell? Who the hell? And we live in the culture that we live in now where, what we call hookup culture, where people meet either through Tinder, online, got all these different dating apps, or just at the clubs and whatnot. People don't really take a lot of precautions when it comes to protecting their health when it comes to STDs. And I've always said this, when you really think about it, the most reasonable thing to do is before you have sex with anyone is for you both to get tested if you haven't been recently tested already. But when you're having sex with multiple people and you're not getting regularly tested, and more than likely they're not getting regularly tested, you're really gambling with your health. And it seems like a lot of people don't really take it slow when it comes to having sex with different people. Seems like a lot of people are kind of in the fast lane and they just say, fuck it, hey, we're gonna hook up. Or even when you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, how many people get tested before they have sex? HPV is the most common sexually transmitted infection, with 3 million new cases in the US each year. Many people will live their lives without ever knowing that they have HPV, but for some, it can develop into cancer. According to the American Cancer Society, cases of oropharyngeal cancer linked to HPV increased nearly 1.3% in women and by 2.8% in men between 2015 and 2019. Though people with HPV infections often clear them completely, Mahana said others can develop severe symptoms. A small number of people are not able to get rid of the infection, maybe due to a defect in a particular aspect of their immune system, he explained. In those patients, the virus is able to replicate continuously and over time integrate at random positions into the host DNA, some of which can cause the host cells to become cancerous. The CDC notes that it typically takes years after being infected with HPV for cancer to develop. The health agency also states that it is unclear if having HPV alone is enough to cause oropharyngeal cancers, or if other factors like smoking or chewing tobacco interact with HPV to cause these cancers. So there were quite a few articles that came out about this when, this information came out. But I've always said, if I ever have sex, we got to get tested. Even me as a virgin, because I look at it like this. I'm a virgin, but why should the girl take my word for it? I don't think you can really trust people in today's day. I know I don't. So if I met a girl, I would insist that we get tested for STDs before we have sex. But I don't think there's a HPV test though. Like that's because this article specifically talks about HPV. So the preventive measures for avoiding HPV is gonna be avoiding having a lot of sexual partners. But I believe there's also a HPV vaccine. So maybe if I become sexually active, I'll look into taking that. But I don't think I have to worry about these issues right now at this time. But like I said, if I meet a girl and I feel like it's going to escalate towards sex, I'm definitely going to insist on we get tested. Because as a virgin, that's what I am, but she shouldn't take my word for it, because I'm not going to take her word for whatever the fuck she say. I don't care if she says she's a virgin, the Virgin Mary, chastity device. I would never take anybody's word for that. In fact, I think I read a story on 4chan. I know, it's random stories online. Got to take it with a grain of salt. But this guy was saying that I think he caught herpes because he met a girl who she was a BPD chick, one of those BP demons. And I think she lied and said that she was a virgin. And so he had unprotected sex with her and caught herpes. And that's the type of stuff that happens. I hate that I have to be so distrustful of people, but it's just the reality of the world that we live in. You have to protect yourself, unfortunately, more so from other people than just about anything else. So I think it should just be like a basic precaution. But I know a lot of people simply don't want to go through the trouble. I mean, just look at it like this. You're a guy struggling in dating, struggling to get laid. You barely getting by. You go to the club, you meet a cute girl, and you spit that game. She like you, she's attracted to you, whatever. And then it's quickly escalating towards sex. Are you going to hit the brakes just to set up both of you guys getting an STD test? Most people just aren't willing to do that. Even with somebody who could potentially become like a girlfriend or a boyfriend, a lot of times people aren't willing to do that. So especially in hookup culture, people who are open to that sort of thing, it's like, how do you hit the pause button during these interactions just to get tested? Then on top of that, it costs money to get tested from what I recall. But I think like in the porn industry, the way they do it, they get tested regularly and just roll off that. So it's like, I'm not sure exactly how many times a year they get tested. I think it's anywhere from like 2 to 4, maybe once every season or so. I guess it differs. It's been a while since I've looked into this, but I know in the porn industry, that's pretty much how they protect themselves. They get tested regularly. And then it's just like they know what they have and what they don't have moving forward for that particular time. And I'm sure they probably share and exchange paperwork so everybody knows what it is. But I know they don't get tested before every single new sexual partner. It's just more of a seasonal thing for them. So at least they know if they do catch something. And yeah, I guess that works for them in that industry. But HPV is a scary one. It's obviously not as serious as like HIV or AIDS or something like that. But what's scary about it is that there isn't really a reliable test for it. You just have to take preventive measures, which is either the vaccine or abstinence. I mean, even your first sexual partner could have HPV. And I believe it said this is one of the most common STDs as well. So for any of my guys out there who are sexually active, it's just something to keep in mind. Because you don't want to, and HPV is bad because it could evolve into cancer, obviously. But I think even something like herpes is probably worse. And here's why. Because with HPV, there isn't a test. You just either got it or you don't. Yeah, you might want to get ahead of the ball and get vaccinated for it. I'd say look into it before you do. Mr. Conspiracy Guy, but whatever. But with herpes, once you got it and you know you got it, you gotta tell people or you're just a demon. And so there's always a point whenever you meet somebody where you gotta lay it on them. Oh, I have herpes. Imagine meeting a cute girl, a cutie or pretty girl, and you're so excited, like, oh yeah, I'm about to get a girlfriend, and then she drops the bomb on you. I have herpes. I thought you should know. Oh my god. Oh god, man. I would like to think that I would say, okay, well, it's been nice knowing you. But that was the news for today. Next, we are going to go right into the main topics.